a little about yourself. You're from North Carolina?
Yes. I am originally from North Carolina. I am a Tar Heel, even though I haven't lived there in over a decade. My parents still live in North Carolina, and I consider it to be my home.
Oh, and what's your background?
I am currently finishing my medical degree from Meharry College of Medicine, go Meharians, and I have a background in mathematics and engineering as well as in biology. What got me into what I'm doing now is my background in 3D art. I was doing virtual architecture for a while and cutting-edge digital sculpting. I sort of applied it to the disciplines that I'm formally trained in.
Well, what exactly is VMAP?
VMAP stands for the Virtual Integrated Medical Education Application Project or Platform. Now, it's a lot of words, but it describes exactly what it is we're trying to do. Medical education, the rigors of medical education have exponentially increased over the last several years due to advances in medical technology. Also, the population is exponentially increasing. So there's a demand for millions of more nurses and doctors and other health professionals. What we need to do is make medical education more accessible, ubiquitize it, if you will, and that is what VMAP sets out to do. Now, there are cutting-edge visuals in VMAP. There's the 3D representations and the multimedia things that are rather eye-catchy, but we are careful to tell persons that VMAP's true value is in the integrated nature of its information. The way medical education is conducted these days is the pathology, the biochemistry, the histology, all of the various didactic areas of a particular subject are simultaneously taught. It's called the integrated platform. We mirror that in VMAP so that whatever one is studying, be it a professional, a doctor, a nurse, or a student of the health sciences, or even a patient who is seeking to expand his or her knowledge, they get that integrated approach, the pharmacology, all of the areas concerning whatever it is they're studying, just put all together there. This makes for a much more effective and, dare I say, novel approach to medical education. And then, of course, we want to make that accessible online so that anyone who has a portable device can basically access this stuff anywhere in the world.
How's it been working out for you so far?
You know, anytime you do something new, you're going to be met with challenges, and we certainly have had our share of challenges, but I am pleased to say that as of late we have garnered the support of some very influential people in the medical education community and the medical community at large. Even here in LA, we have met with some persons who have heard our idea and who think it's a fantastic idea, and we are just getting a larger and larger list of supporters and advisors and people who aren't afraid to put their name out there and say, hey, I think this is great. So we're gaining momentum. So far, things are going very well. Thank you.
I understand you met one of your heroes recently. How was that?
Yes. I recently got to speak with the infamous Dr. Ben Carson, who is, for those of you who don't know, a neurosurgeon in the pediatrics department at Johns Hopkins University. And I mean, this guy has really broken a lot of rules by becoming world famous as a surgeon. In his own words, we live in a society that praises rock stars and actors and stuff like that. But he's a physician, he's a scientist, and has reached this status because of his skill. He considers himself blessed. But when I was a young man, my parents gave me a copy of his book, Think Big and Gifted Hands. And I read that. I read about his struggles. I read about how he grew up kind of on the rough side and found himself, and with God's grace, really got an opportunity to develop his skill, which in his case is neurosurgery. I have been through some things, some negative experiences, and during those times I really clung to Dr. Carson's example just kind of as a personal inspiration as to what could happen if I put my mind to it. And yes, putting my mind to it, and with divine help, I have come out of those things and I'm realizing this success. When we first met Dr. Carson, it was actually because of Dr. Linda Muricata, who was a pathologist working for the military. And she'd gotten a hold of my story and what it is we were trying to do with VMAP, and she believed. We talked on the phone a while. She found out, that I really wanted to meet Dr. Carson, and she used her influence to get us a meeting. So the day of, we were all there in our white coats, pressed and starched. I had my school logo, emblazed there on the side, and we were trying to decide what we were going to ask Dr. Carson. And we finally meet him, and he's just this extremely laid-back guy. He's extremely understanding. He knows what guys like myself, just the significance of meeting successful people like him. And he just talked to us. It was fantastic. I told him about how much his example meant to me. I told him about VMAP and what we're doing here, and he thought it was a great idea. Said that he didn't have a problem supporting it, gave me his business card. It was just fantastic. But the whole circle of life thing about it is, at that time they ran an article in one of the local papers talking about myself and VMAP and even Dr. Muricata and how we met Dr. Carson and stuff. And there were young persons who read that article, and when I returned home to Tennessee, I had emails from people who really wanted a chance to talk to me. You never know how or when you get an opportunity to encourage other people. And so I talk to these. One of my favorites is a guy named Ty who lives in Florida, and he wants to go to Meharry's Dental School. And I got a chance to talk to him, and Ty was telling me how he's had to work through school and how he really wants to be a dentist. And I got to pass on the Ben Carson torch. Just tell him, if you put your mind to it, Ty, you can do it, whatever it is that you want to do. So the experience of meeting Ben Carson was beneficial, and then it was beneficial again on other levels, and that's really what it's all about. Yeah.
You attribute your success to the support of others, and that seems to be something you're adamant about.
Yes, I do. Well, for example, my wife, who is as equally brilliant as she is supportive, has a background in mathematics and engineering, along with my younger brother, who is in structural design. They and myself kind of form this triad of a think tank, and a lot of our crazy ideas as a company come from that think tank. Their support is just essential to me solidifying a lot of the ideas. It's critical. I couldn't do it without them. Persons like my former pathology professor, Dr. Bro, who I think is just a really stand-up guy, stuck his neck out there. He heard what it is we were trying to do, and he thought it was a great idea. He's the kind of man who's not afraid to say, you know what, I think this is great, and I'm just willing to stick my neck out there and support it. Also, there's Dr. Randall Maxey, who was the former president of the National Medical Association. We got a chance to meet him about a year ago. He thought this was a great idea, and he just gone around and introduced us to his most influential associates. Support from people like that, as well as friends and parents and the dean of student affairs at my school. Just those guys just keep us going. They keep me going. I'm the one here doing this interview, so everyone gets to see me, but I assure you I'm where I am, and I will get to where I'm headed because of the support of fantastic people like that. Yes.
Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me. I've enjoyed being here. Thank you very much.
You can learn more about Ryan Johnson and VMAP at www.belluminnovations.org.